Ladies and gentlemen, have you ever been in that confusing space where you can feel that someone wants you, but they just won't say it? They act cool, distant, maybe even indifferent. Yet there's something in their energy that keeps you wondering, is he thinking about me? Does he miss me when I'm not around? Today, we're going to peel back that mystery and talk about the subtle, unspoken signs that a man is craving you day and night, even when his pride won't let him admit it. When a man is craving you day and night, but refuses to admit it, the very first and most powerful sign lies in his emotional craving, that invisible pull that keeps him emotionally attached to you. Even when he's trying to appear detached, this craving doesn't show up in loud confessions or romantic gestures right away. It's subtle, quiet, and often expressed through his need to feel emotionally connected to you. A man's heart doesn't always speak through his words. It speaks through his attention, his curiosity, and his emotional consistency. When a man truly craves you, he begins to find comfort in your presence and chaos in your absence. Even when he tries to distract himself, something inside him keeps circling back to you. You'll notice he remembers small details that most people overlook. He recalls what you said about your childhood, the movie that makes you cry, or the random thing you mentioned about your morning coffee. This isn't just him being thoughtful. It's a reflection of how much emotional space you occupy in his mind. He doesn't just hear you, he absorbs you. Every word, every tone, every glance becomes part of his inner world. When you're not around, those little memories resurface, making him replay moments he didn't realize meant so much to him at the time. That's the emotional craving, the way his heart tries to hold on to you through thoughts, through imagination, through unspoken longing. Another powerful indicator of a craving is how he subtly seeks reassurance without admitting it. He might ask you questions like, "Did you miss me?" Or, "Who were you hanging out with?" in a playful tone, but underneath it is a quiet need for validation. He wants to know that he still matters, that your attention still finds its way back to him. When a man craves you emotionally, he may not say, "I miss you," but his actions scream it. He checks in at odd hours, starts a conversation over something random, or likes an old photo of yours out of nowhere. It's his way of saying, "I'm thinking of you," without having to risk the vulnerability of saying it out loud. There's also an emotional protectiveness that comes with this craving. When a man is emotionally invested, he starts to care about your well-being in subtle ways. He asks if you've eaten, worries if you sound tired, or becomes curious about your stress levels. It's not about control. It's about emotional care. You'll see it in the way he listens more deeply, the way his tone softens when he talks to you, or how his eyes reflect genuine concern. When a man craves you emotionally, your moods affect him. Your happiness brings him peace, and your distance unsettles him. It's as though his emotional state begins to synchronize with yours, even if he doesn't want to admit it. Yet, emotional craving is also confusing for men, especially those who aren't used to expressing vulnerability. Many men are conditioned to associate emotional openness with weakness, so they fight against their own feelings. This internal conflict makes them act inconsistent, warm one moment, distant the next. But what's really happening is that his emotions are becoming too strong for his comfort. He might try to distract himself, bury himself in work, or pretend he's moved on, but the emotional bond you've created keeps pulling him back. It's like a song stuck in his head. He doesn't choose it, but he can't turn it off either. This craving also shows in his communication rhythm. He might text you late at night, not because he's bored, but because that's when his guard is down, when his emotions feel louder. Nighttime has a way of exposing what the heart tries to hide. When he's alone with his thoughts, that's when your presence feels the strongest. He might scroll through old messages, replay your conversations, or wonder if you're thinking of him too. Emotional craving thrives in quiet moments, the spaces between distractions, when all that's left is what he feels but won't admit. Sometimes emotional craving makes him jealous, not in an aggressive way, but in a quiet, nervous way. When he sees you happy without him, it unsettles something deep inside him. He starts wondering if someone else makes you smile that way. That jealousy doesn't come from ownership. It comes from emotional attachment. He doesn't want to lose the connection that gives his heart warmth and meaning. And even though he may act unbothered, his silence often carries the weight of his feelings. You see, when a man craves you emotionally, you become part of his emotional rhythm. His days feel lighter when he hears from you and empty when he doesn't. He may try to stay strong, act detached, or pretend he's too busy to care, but his heart betrays him every time he checks your messages, every time he replays your laughter in his head. Emotional craving isn't something he can control. It's something that consumes him quietly, piece by piece. And while he may never admit it, his every action, his attention, his concern, his late night curiosity whispers the truth. He's too afraid to speak aloud. He's emotionally addicted to you. When a man is craving you day and night, but won't admit it, the second powerful sign hides in his body language. Words can be guarded, but the body rarely lies. The subtle shifts in his posture, the tone of his voice, and the way his eyes linger a little too long all reveal what he's trying to keep concealed. When a man is drawn to you, his entire physical presence changes around you, often without him realizing it. It's as though his subconscious betrays him, communicating what his pride refuses to say. The human body naturally gravitates toward what it desires, and when a man's emotions are entangled with craving, his physical signals start to mirror that inner pull. You might notice the way he leans in slightly when you talk. It's not always obvious, but his body seems netically pulled toward yours, closing the space without him even realizing it. He wants to be close enough to feel your energy, to sense your mood, to breathe the same air as you. His attention locks in, and he subconsciously tunes out everything else around him. When you speak, his body reacts, his shoulders relax, his pupils dilate, and he starts mirroring your movements. That mirroring is one of the most powerful subconscious indicators of desire. It's his mind saying, I'm aligned with you. I'm connected. Even when he's trying to stay cool and composed, his body language betrays the truth. He's craving you in silence. And another physical sign lies in eye contact. The eyes are the most honest part of the body when it comes to attraction. A man who craves you can't help but look at you differently. His gaze lingers just a second longer than it should. And when your eyes meet, it's as though he's searching for something deeper. Permission, connection, reassurance. Sometimes he looks away quickly, not because he's uninterested, but because the intensity of that gaze feels too revealing. He knows that one long look could expose everything he's trying to hide. But the next moment, you catch him looking again. That back and forth dance of glances is his inner conflict playing out. The struggle between maintaining control and giving in to desire. The way he touches or avoids touching you also reveals his craving. He may find excuses to brush your arm, fix something near you, or guide you through a doorway. Those seemingly innocent touches carry weight because to him, physical proximity feels electric. If he's holding back, you'll notice the opposite. He becomes hyper aware of his own movements, trying not to get too close because he knows he'd lose his composure. His restraint becomes a language of its own. A man who isn't interested doesn't think twice about closeness, but a man who craves you is constantly aware of it. Every inch of space between you feels charged. Every moment of contact lingers in his mind long after it's over. Even his voice changes around you. It becomes softer, slower, sometimes deeper. A natural adjustment triggered by attraction. He might speak with more warmth, or his laughter becomes genuine and unguarded. The rhythm of his speech mirrors his desire to connect emotionally and physically. When he's near you, he unconsciously adopts a tone that draws you in rather than pushes you away. Sometimes he teases you playfully, using humor to mask the deeper emotion underneath. Other times, his pauses in conversation speak louder than words, the silence filled with everything he wants to say but can't. You might also notice how his nervous energy gives him away. He fidgets slightly when you're around, adjusts his clothes, runs his hand through his hair, or shifts his weight from one foot to the other. These little gestures are signs of heightened self-awareness. He wants to look his best without appearing like he's trying too hard. His body enters a kind of alert mode, as if it's aware that something significant is happening in your presence. He stands a little taller, smiles more easily, and becomes more expressive. His subconscious goal is to impress you, to make you feel comfortable, and to silently communicate that he's drawn to you. When a man is craving you, but trying to hide it, his body becomes the battlefield between logic and emotion. His mind tells him to stay composed, to act casual, but his body keeps giving him away. The attraction leaks through his gestures, his expressions, and the small details he can't control. He may try to maintain distance, but his energy keeps reaching for you. Even when he walks away, there's a subtle hesitation in his steps, a silent wish to linger just a little longer. You'll also notice that his body language becomes protective. When you're in a group, he subtly positions himself near you, ensuring he can see you or be close enough to step in if needed. It's not always conscious, but it's instinctive, a mix of attraction and care. He may angle his body toward you even when he's talking to someone else, or mirror your emotions through facial expressions without realizing it. That level of attunement is rare. It's the body's way of saying, I'm emotionally and physically in sync with you. Even in silence, his presence feels heavier. There's a kind of tension in the air, the unspoken chemistry that hums between two people who are aware of the connection but aren't ready to name it. That tension is the essence of craving. It's not just about wanting someone physically, it's about the magnetic energy that draws two souls closer without permission. When he's near you, his entire body communicates what his mouth refuses to say, that you have an undeniable effect on him, one he can't rationalize or resist. When a man is craving you day and night, but won't admit it. One of the clearest signs is emotional inconsistency, the push and pull behavior that leaves you feeling both desired and confused. This inconsistency isn't random. It's the natural result of his inner battle between desire and control. On one hand, he feels drawn to you in a way he can't ignore. On the other, he's terrified of what that vulnerability means. So instead of expressing how he feels openly, he oscillates between moments of deep connection and sudden distance. When he's near you, he's warm, attentive, and fully present. But once those feelings become too intense, he retreats. This emotional dance is his attempt to protect himself from feelings that feel too powerful, too real, and too risky to admit. You might notice that after an especially close moment, a deep conversation, a shared laugh, or even a look that lingers too long, he suddenly becomes distant. He takes longer to reply, cancels plans, or seems distracted. That withdrawal isn't because he's lost interest. It's because he's trying to regulate emotions he doesn't fully understand. He's afraid of getting too attached, afraid of losing control, afraid of being the one who cares more. But the irony is that his distance only proves how much he does care. If he felt nothing, he wouldn't need to pull back. It's his craving that scares him, and that fear creates the inconsistency that confuses you. There's also a pattern in how he reconnects after pulling away. He eventually finds his way back, usually with a casual message, a joke, or an excuse to start a conversation. It's his way of testing the waters, making sure you're still there, still emotionally available. That return isn't random. It's fueled by craving. When he tries to detach, he realizes that his mind doesn't cooperate. You stay in his thoughts. Your voice echoes in his memory. And even when he's surrounded by distractions, he feels that emotional absence. So he comes back, not necessarily to confess, but to feel close to you again. The inconsistency becomes a cycle. Closeness, retreat, longing, return. Emotional inconsistency is also visible in his communication tone. There are times when his messages overflow with warmth and interest, followed by periods where he seems detached or formal. He might flirt with you one day, then act distant the next, leaving you wondering what changed. What changed is his level of emotional comfort. When he's feeling secure and in control, he allows himself to express affection. But when the intensity becomes too strong, he steps back to regain balance. This push and pull is exhausting for both of you, but it's rooted in his emotional craving. The part of him that wants to be near you fighting against the part that fears what that closeness means. Inconsistency also shows up in his behavior when you show interest. If you match energy, he lights up. His attention grows, his affection deepens. But the moment he senses he's losing his emotional control, he shuts down or changes the subject. It's not rejection, it's self-defense. He's protecting his ego from the possibility of rejection or heartbreak. His fear of emotional exposure makes him unpredictable, even when his craving for you is constant. There's an unmistakable tension in his presence, an invisible thread connecting his highs and lows. When he's close, you feel his warmth, his care, his subtle protectiveness. When he pulls away, you feel his absence, like a sudden chill. That's because his inconsistency isn't about indifference. It's about emotional overload. He's feeling too much and trying too hard to hide it. He wants to be near you, but he also wants to keep control. And when those two desires clash, inconsistency is the result. The truth is, Men who crave deeply often don't know how to handle that craving. It's not always intentional when they send mixed signals. It's emotional survival, an effort to manage vulnerability while still staying close to what they want. So when a man's behavior swings between closeness and distance, understand that it's not the absence of feeling, but the presence of too much of it. His inconsistency is the unspoken evidence that his heart is caught in between wanting you and fearing you'll see just how much he does. When a man is craving you day and night, but won't admit it, one of the most undeniable signs is the effort he puts into staying connected with you, even when he pretends it's casual. Words can be hidden, but actions always reveal the truth. A man who's emotionally invested will find reasons to reach out, to be around you, and to remain part of your world. He might disguise it under friendliness, curiosity, or coincidence, but beneath all of it lies a deep need to feel close to you. He doesn't always say, "I miss you," but he'll show it through consistency, through the way he finds small, creative ways to keep the connection alive without making it obvious. You'll notice he reaches out at random times, sometimes for no real reason at all. He might send a funny video, comment on something you posted, or ask about something small you mentioned days ago. On the surface, it looks casual, but every action is deliberate. He's checking the emotional temperature, making sure that line between you hasn't gone cold. His pride might stop him from confessing how much he thinks about you, but his behavior betrays him. He doesn't just contact you out of habit. He does it because your absence creates a discomfort he can't ignore. He needs to know you're still there, still somewhat his, even if he hasn't earned the right to say so. Another strong sign is his availability. No matter how busy he claims to be, he somehow finds time for you. Maybe he offers to help with something, or he shows up when you need support. He might frame it as a coincidence or a favor, but underneath, it's his craving manifesting as care. A man who isn't invested won't rearrange his life for someone else. But when he's craving you, he'll make small sacrifices, skipping rest, changing plans, or putting in extra effort just to keep you close. It's his silent way of staying relevant in your world without exposing his feelings too openly. His effort also shows in his curiosity about your life. He asks questions that go beyond surface level chatter because he wants to understand what's happening in your world, who you're spending time with, and how you're feeling. He's not just making conversation. He's studying your emotional state. He listens intently, remembers the details, and brings them up later, proving that he's been paying attention, even if he pretends it's casual interest. The depth of his awareness gives him away. A man craving you doesn't just hear your words. He listens for meaning, searching for clues about whether you think of him as much as he thinks of you. You might also see his effort in the way he supports or defends you. If someone disrespects you, his tone changes. If you're struggling, he becomes more gentle and reassuring. His craving turns into a quiet protectiveness, not out of obligation, but out of instinct. He wants to be the one you rely on, the one you trust. It's his way of keeping a place in your emotional world without admitting how much he needs it. His actions become his language, gestures, favors, messages, attention. Every bit of effort is a piece of him reaching toward you, hoping you'll see what he can't yet say. Even when he tries to act distant, he never truly disappears. you'll notice patterns. He retreats for a while, then reappears with renewed energy. That's his craving resetting itself. He tries to convince himself he doesn't care, that he's fine on his own, but the silence always gets to him. He finds himself wondering what you're doing, if you're thinking of him, if someone else has taken his place. And that curiosity pushes him back toward you, even when his ego tells him not to reach out. His return is never random. It's emotional gravity pulling him back into your orbit. The most powerful truth about effort is that it can't be faked over time. Temporary gestures fade, but consistency reveals craving. When he keeps showing up in small ways, remembering things you said, checking in on you, finding ways to make you laugh, it's not because he's bored. It's because he's emotionally invested. His effort becomes his confession. Every action, every word, every time he chooses to stay connected, he's saying what he can't bring himself to admit, that he's craving you day and night, in silence and in secret, hoping you feel it too.